Hello everyone, welcome to another Attack of the B-Team Testing Grounds video. This video is a bit different than the previous ones I've uploaded. This is all about thermal expansions, redstone energy conduits, and conduits in general, along with whether or not they can handle more than 10k RF input per tick. What we have here in each row is 125 compression dynamos. Each compression dynamo is going to be outputting 80 RF per tick, which gives us a 10k RF per tick total. The maximum of the redstone energy conduit, as you can see there, the rate 10k RF per tick. What this concept says is the redstone energy conduits can output more than 10k RF per tick and receive more than 10k RF per tick. However, each connection, these things here, can only output 10k RF per tick. And why is that on an output down there? It should not be on an output down there. Let me double check these really quick. I believe they all did this to begin with. Yeah, they all did. Apparently I did not remember to change these before starting over the video. So, back to the thing. What we have over here in the first row here is 125 of them, the 10k RF per tick. This is going to be our baseline standard for this test, for these tests rather. The next one is 250 dynamos, or 20k RF per tick. To accommodate for this, with the connection theory, is 2 connections instead of the 1. So this should be able to receive 20k RF per tick by 10k here and 10k here. Same thing goes for this one, only it's 30k RF per tick and with 3 connections on the cell. 40k RF per tick, 4 connections. And finally 50k RF per tick and 5 connections. The reason there is not a 60k RF per tick example here is because, well, then the cell would be completely pointless to have unless you wanted this like charged up with an instance. Kind of need at least one output. Practically though, I would probably have to say this setup, the 3 sides being used, would probably be more useful if this does indeed work as expected and as promised by most wikis for thermal expansion and conduits and other sources of information. The reason this would be most practical is because you can have 30k RF in and 30k RF out. Because there's 6 sides, 30k in, 30k out, yeah. Alright, so all the way over here, on the opposite side of this block of peridot field, and dynamos and fluid ducts and conduits and everything else, we have 2 creative portable tanks. First one is going to resupply the water to the dynamos, which I'm now going to break so the dynamos do not run infinitely. As you can see, all the fluid ducts have emptied. Wow. Really? Okay. This next tank, before I put it in there, is going to take LXP. 1 bucket of LXP, as you can see, takes 1 million, can produce 1 million RF at 80 RF per tick. So I'm going to put this in there, give it a moment, make sure everything lights up, and this is going to take a bit to load all of these in, because that is a lot of stuff being done. I'm actually going to help this along by adding more creative portable tanks. As you can see, there is very few of these actually turning on. This is a problem with this kind of testing, especially in these large of numbers, is that if you do not have the ability to input the liquids fast enough, this test will become invalid, which I believe is happening right now, simply because of the fact that not all of these are turning on at the same time. Which leads me to believe a lot of these do not have water, and that is indeed correct. My apologies if I am talking a bit fast, by the way. I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible without being too much of a hassle. Let me grab that. Alright. Once I see all of these on, I will actually reset the testing. Let these kind of pewter out a bit. And, well, by that I mean once they all are capped with every single, with both fluids and internal storage, I'll reset the cells and we can do the test again. Yeah, this is definitely one of the major issues of this issue, this thing here. You know what? I'm gonna cut here, actually, and see if I can come up with a different setup for liquid dispersal. Obviously, the setup is not working as I want it to. There's probably a limitation I'm hitting with all these from the pure fact of how many there are here. Oh, yeah, I'm just now seeing those turn on. Yeah. Give me a bit. I'm gonna have to reset this, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I believe I have it all figured out now, for this test anyway. I created a pyramid system using the creative portable tanks. This should disperse the liquid a bit more evenly, and as well as have each row contain its own liquid for outputting. I'm actually going to switch over to the filled oil canister for inputting the oil fluid as fuel instead of the LXP. The reason for this is the oil only produces 150k RF. 125 dynamos, all filled with oil, produce around 75 million RF in total. And because of this, I added a couple extra resident energy cells that can take the 10k out at a time and put it somewhere else. The reason for this is simply because, well, this one row here, if it's filled up all entirely of oil, 4 buckets of it, it will produce 75 million RF, which is more than one of these can handle. I added two extras per one, just to have some extra breathing room on here. But we will check to see how the power is going once all the fluid is dispersed. Speaking of, it looks actually pretty cool from this angle. The creative tanks were tried to be centered as much as possible to give it a better chance of going left and right simultaneously and filling the tanks. Not sure how well that actually works, but we're about to find out with this water right here. So let's go ahead and hit that. That's going to output the outputs from the tanks, and there we go. That pyramid cascaded pretty quick. Let me double check these tanks as well to make sure none of them are set to input on the bottom. I had to do this manually on switching them over to output mode. Like that one was left on input, but that's for a good reason. I don't want to have the liquid pour out before I want it to start, and the rest of these look good. I can tell these dynamos haven't filled up because the fluid duct has not filled itself yet. Let me get the meter from thermal expansion and see what these say. Yeah, it's at 120 millibuckets out of the 378,000 millibuckets, and has a throughput of 120 millibuckets per tick. That is the limitation of these pipes, by the way, for this fluid. I'm pretty sure if I had a different fluid in there, it would have a different limitation, but I'm not 100% sure. I do know they have a different capacity depending on the fluid, but that's not part of this video. I've also noticed another thing. My FPS has taken a large hit from all these fluid ducts and machines trying to update simultaneously. Got quite a few chunk updates for just idling at the moment. It's probably from all the water and stuff updating the dynamos. Do I see these on over here? I do. Why are these on? These should not be on. Whoops. Apparently, some of these still had LXP in them, but they did not get the water. Give me a moment to reset once more and reassure these are emptied before we continue. Already back once again, just about done waiting for the network saturation on these conduits to finish off. As you can see, it's still outputting 2 RF per tick. Oh, now it's down to 1. As soon as that hits 0, or as soon as it stops filling up, I'll be able to replace it and should be able to run the test again. While I've been waiting for that to finish, though, I've noticed all of these have been filling up. This one apparently is still working on a dynamo or two somewhere. Let's see, that's filled, that's filled. This one is filled, that one's filled. That one has also filled. I'm not entirely sure why there is a slight difference in the amount that those two can store, considering they should be exactly the same length and size. It's definitely an interesting thing that's going on with those. How much are they actually differing by? What is that? Three buckets worth of liquid? That's not too bad. Alright, this should be done. Looks like it's done. We can replace this. And now we should be able to put the oil into the container up here and run the test. Hopefully these dynamos all get the oil pretty much at the same time. A tick or two delay shouldn't make too much of a difference in the end. The other issue I'm probably going to see is that these all won't turn on simultaneously, but rather it will turn on one by one as the liquid gets to it. That's just one of the downsides with this setup. It does seem to go to the first one available, then the next, etc. down the line. But this should work. Alright, so we got that in there, got the wrench on me. Let's start this and watch my FPS drop like no tomorrow. Wow, did those... I had checked a few cables on this line, I believe, before starting this test, and it said monitoring, and it never came back with a value. Alright, so I can see these have turned on instead of the ones at the front here, but it does appear that the ones at the front are working at the same time. So, while I do wish to have turned off the oil being put into it for the power, I will leave it as is, and we can take a look at these energy cells to see how fast they're filling up. So this one's at 0 still, because all 10K is going through here, or as soon as it's all able to, it'll all go through here. This one's going to be empty as well, because we haven't reached the 10K limit on one row yet. So that's all going in there. This should have triple the amount at the moment, and yes, this is slowly filling up, simply because the 10K output limit is being reached here. This can't fill any higher than 10K per tick. So this is starting to fill up because of that. So which means this is producing more than 10K RF per tick, which means these connections are actually doing its job. So let me check that one. That one is 1,881. That's 1,935. Yeah, as you can see, as more and more dynamos fill up and the network gets saturated, the more and more power that will go through there and for longer periods of time. This one should actually be filling up quicker. Is it not? No, it is. It's just Wayla is not updating properly for that. Yeah, we're already reaching 60K on that one. What is this one at? This is only at 8K. So this is definitely a massive, major in power improvement for generating power to one cell. You can definitely tell that by the fact that this is already at 700K. Wow. Which means this one should be pretty much higher. Yeah, this is already at 3.8 mil. And this is yet to fill up all of the dynamos. I have no idea where this actually is for this one. Oh, it's right here. This does seem to be filling up the dynamos pretty evenly. This middle row here, for whatever reason, it's filling up quite oddly. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. I'm not sure if it's a directional axis issue or coordinate issue, but it's definitely interesting. Doesn't seem to be affecting the test any. I believe the ones that are in the back that are not lit would cover for the distance here. Yeah, the rest of these do seem to be filling up at the same rate. Yeah, that just went up one, and these did too. Okay, so this test is valid. The pyramid shape did work. Let's head back over to the cells and take another look. This is still at 0 because it's still bleeding all of it through because it's not past the 10k limit. This one is starting to slowly fill up, which means we have hit past the 10k limit. This one is filling up drastically. That one's even higher, and this last one should indicate even a higher value, like much, much higher. What is that? 25 mil. The one over here is 15 mil. Alright, so that definitely indicates that this setup right now, the way it's going, is actually producing enough RF to fill this through 10k connections. So let me see what that says. And that, and that, and that. Alright, so that's the RF per tick going through each of those sides right now. That's actually pretty high. That's well beyond the 10k in total that the RF conduits are supposed to be able to handle, which does mean it is similar to a I would say these are similar to capacitors in that the conduits take in the power, act as a power holding facility, such as a capacitor, and then as soon as it has a place to discharge, it discharges to it. Probably at the maximum power possible, or at least to make a equilibrium. Yeah, those two are at higher ticks simply because they don't have as many connections. If I added more connections, that average distribution would be lower, even though the same amount of power would be going into the same cell. Yeah, that does seem to verify that this is working as intended or as stated on multiple sources, that the more connections you have allows more throughput, even though the conduits themselves have a limit of 10k RF per connection rather than 10k RF limit for throughput. As you saw, that one over there was already filled. This one is... that one's already at 47 mil. That one's at 25 mil. That's at, what, 5.8 mil? And this one's still at 0 because it still hasn't hit the 10k limit, but that's how much power that one's produced, 28 mil. So yeah, I think that will be it for the testing grounds video. This demonstrates that, while this is crazy and long and complicated, a lot of materials will be used to do this in survival. This does work through one continuous conduit line. Same goes for this, where it does 40k and 30k and 20k. So guys, thanks for watching. This is one hell of a power setup. And I'll see you guys next time. Alright, one more thing before we call it quits. As you may see, I've removed all of the energy cells. All of these dynamos are running. I want to show that these do actually work in the sense a bit differently. So we got the 10k line here. Put that on there. We look at this and we can see it going up by 10k at a time. Let's see. Can I actually get a 10k marker for this? It doesn't look like it. It looks like you can click every 2 ticks, roughly. So, that's going up by 10k. If we went over here, this should be going up by 20k. And as you can see, the numbers there, they are always even in this case, which indicates that it's going up evenly, or by 2s rather. If we spam this a bit and look at the chat log, you can see that it never reaches 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. And that's because it is receiving the 20k RF per tick. And also you can see that this is already caught up to that. That is what... Yeah, actually that's already surpassed this. Over here we have the 30k RF per tick, so let's check that. These values should be primarily odd, and then even, then odd. Which you should be able to see that pattern here in the chat spam. Yeah, it's going up in that manner. Yep, that's getting 30k RF per tick, and as you can see, that's already catching up to that one. Then these two over here, well, this one over here is the 40, and you can see that should be going up by 4s. Looking at the chat spam, you can indicate that it is actually going up by 4s. Again, remember that there is some delay between the measurements just from me holding down right mouse button. If I spam the button click, you could be able to get a better accurate depiction of what's going on, but it only goes so far. As you can also tell, that's filled up a lot faster, and that's actually pretty close to getting caught up to those. And the last one, the 50k RF per tick. Yeah, wow. As you can see, the chat spam down below in the bottom left shows 5s or 0s. It never reaches any other number. If we were to open this up, yeah, you can't even see the 5 or 0 that well unless you're really focusing. All you really see is the third from front digit at the moment, just flickering through the numbers and increasing the tenths pretty quickly. Yeah, this is almost filled already. Yeah, wow. Alright, that was the last thing I wanted to add to this. So, yeah, wow, this is actually still just filling. The rest of these are pretty much filled or almost there. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add to the video. I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. That was a weird render glitch. Just wanted to show that these do work as advertised, and just not because they were being powered up one by one. Yep, that'll be it. See you guys next time.